President Trump said,
What
You-
now? What did he say?
President Trump said the United States invented everything.
I can't. He's so egotistical. He's so on it.
America's political chaos isn't staying within its borders. It's echoing across Canada in ways most people never see. From tariffs to recessions, from MAGA extremism to border gridlock, every shockwave coming out of Washington forces Canada to adapt, rebuild, and rethink its future. But here's the twist. Canada isn't just reacting anymore. We are evolving, we are diversifying. And in the middle of America's storm, Canada may be quietly stepping into its strongest position in decades. Today, we're breaking down how U.S. instability is reshaping our economy, our politics, and our global identity, and why this moment could define Canada's next chapter.
Breaking news, as of now, 22 states are in an official recession. This means that for a vast portion of Americans, we are facing economic hardship. So don't let economists and Fox News reporters tell you, we're fine, we're not in a recession, because we are and we have the data to prove it. Recession is often characterized by lack of job opportunities as well as persistent economic hardship lasting more than a few months. Current estimates suggest that 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Many people are struggling to put food on the table each day. States currently in or on the brink of recession include Oregon, Georgia, and Illinois. Why? Largely because of Trump's economic plan and the tariffs.
Let's start with the hard truth. America is not okay. Recession signals are everywhere. And not because critics are exaggerating, but because the data is screaming louder than the politics willing to lie about it. Millions of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Entire states like Oregon, Georgia, and Illinois are sliding into recession. Even Washington, D.C., the political center of the United States, is getting hammered. And yes, a huge part of this is because of Trump-era tariffs, economic mismanagement, and the politics of chaos. But here's where it affects us. Canada's economy is tied to the US in ways no other country is. When America sneezes, we catch pneumonia, or at least that's how it used to be. The US dollar swings, our currency drops. US trade wars, our exports get hit. American government shutdowns, border delays spike, tourism collapses, and supply chains freeze. But something different is happening now, something quietly revolutionary. Canada isn't panicking. Canada is pivoting. Over the last 5 years, we pushed aggressively into Europe. Through CETA, we've expanded into Asia. We are building new pipelines, new export routes, and new trade relations with Africa, a region growing faster than almost anywhere else on Earth. For decades, America assumed Canada would always depend on them, but dependence is turning into independence. Canada is learning to stand on its own feet, build its own markets, and defend its own economy without waiting for US approval. And ironically, it's America's chaos, not Canada's weakness, that is accelerating this transformation. The question is no longer, what happens to Canada when America collapses? It's becoming, what new opportunities open for Canada when America is distracted, divided, and declining?
Canada must be looking elsewhere to expand our trade, to build our economy, and to protect our sovereignty. Canada is ready to take a leadership role in building a coalition of like-minded countries who share our values. We believe in international cooperation. We believe in the free and open exchange of goods, services, and ideas. And if the United States no longer wants to lead, Canada will.
America's political instability isn't just changing policy, it's changing identity. And not just theirs, ours. Think about it. For decades, Canada's national identity was partially shaped by being the calm, stable neighbor next to a superpower. We benefited from that partnership, but we also hid in its shadow. Our defense, our trade, and our global presence. Much of it was filtered through the lens of How will America react? But the MAGA era changed the game. Suddenly, Canada wasn't just dealing with a predictable ally, but an emotional, erratic neighbor. Tariffs on aluminum and steel hit Canadian workers harder than any economic crisis in a generation. Border threats, travel bans, and political insults created a divide we hadn't seen in modern times. Canadian travelers, students, nurses, and truckers felt the shift immediately. But here's the surprising part. America's chaos forced Canada to rediscover itself. We started asking new questions. What does it mean to be truly independent? How do we defend our democracy from American polarization? Why should Canada rely on a partner that sees us as leverage instead of a friend? What does a stronger Canadian identity look like in a world where America is no longer the model? The result has been a quiet cultural shakeup. Canadian confidence is rising. Canadian politics, even with our internal conflicts, is nowhere near the chaos south of the border. Our institutions hold, our elections hold, our alliances hold, and that stability has value. The world is starting to see Canada as a diplomatic anchor, a country that doesn't swing widely every 4 years, a country that still respects rule of law, a country that can negotiate, mediate, and lead. America used to be the example. Now Canada is becoming one. And as the US struggles with internal division, Canada is becoming a global symbol of calm, a role that could reshape our place in the world for decades.
I'm just not buying blueberries from California right now. Are you doing anything to support Canadians amid the trade war?
Yeah, like groceries, me and my fiance, like we're making a concerted effort and just buying Canadian. Even like our trips, we were thinking of traveling like somewhere down south, but we're like, you know what, probably not. Rather not have our dollar go to them.
I think it's time to really seek out Canadian and start putting our money towards our own economy.
Just buy local.
Why do you think it's important that we do that?
Support Canada.
Here's where the story flips. America's chaos isn't just a threat, it's an opportunity, a historic one. Because while the United States is wrapped in culture wars, extremism, and political meltdown, Canada is making moves that will determine our economic and geopolitical future. Let's break them down. Trade diversification. Canada is finally doing what economists begged us to do for decades. Stop putting 75% of our trade in one basket. We're expanding into Europe, India, Southeast Asia, and Africa. Canadian companies are following the money, not the old habits. Energy realignment. The US used to be our biggest customer. Now it's our biggest competitor. Instead of begging for pipelines through American land, Canada is building routes to Asia, investing in LNG terminals, and signing long-term energy contracts abroad. This gives Canada leverage we haven't had in 50 years. Immigration and talent advantage. While America fights over border walls and bans, Canada is attracting global talent at historic levels. Tech workers, nurses, engineers, researchers. Canada is quietly becoming the brain gain capital of the West, while America becomes the brain drain capital. Diplomatic relevance. America's global influence is shrinking. Canada is rising. Countries trust us. They listen. They invite us to tables where American politics is simply too toxic to be effective. A stronger Canadian dollar long term. Ironically, the very chaos that weakens the Canadian dollar today could strengthen it tomorrow. Because as Canada reduces dependence on the US, our currency becomes tied to more stable, diverse global partners. This is the great pivot happening right now. Canada isn't waiting for America to get its act together. Canada is building a future where our success doesn't depend on American stability. This doesn't mean cutting ties with the US, far from it. The US will always be our neighbor, our partner, and our biggest trading relationship. But it does mean something bigger. Canada is stepping into its own era of independence, confidence, and global influence. And America's chaos, for better or worse, is the catalyst.